What up, y'all? It's your boy Kaizen, and I got a banger VOD review for you guys. This is a diamond lobby, and not gonna lie, I was already rooting to go for a Slayer comp because it has been a while since I played a Slayer comp. Oh man, it was such an exciting game. I honestly didn't think it would go the way it would, because I'm still practicing the Warwick game. I'm still practicing Warwick, the entire comp. The Warwick comp is a truly flexible team comp. You can go off gunslingers, you can go off juggernauts, bruisers, defenders, what have you. And it really just depends on what you end up getting, right? So early game, same as usual. I got an early Piltover 2, checked the modules, and figured I would go Bruiser Invokers. Maybe I would go off of an early Oriana and then just go from there. But the game had other plans for me. So as I'm setting up my early game, I noticed that a few people are already gearing for Slayers. So I'm like, okay, no problem. I can just go Bruiser Invokers. I have a sword, and that could be a Shojin. I kind of don't want to slam gargoyles because it's still too early in the game and it's not gonna give me enough mileage later on. So our first set of augments is delayed start. I was thinking of going backup bows because I have the tank components for basically a good Slayer items. Bow and vest would make Titans, bow and sword would make Giant Slayer, bow and cloak would make Krakens. It's such an overall good augment to get, but I won't be able to cash in on the other two bows until later on in the stage. But I need to spike right now because I don't have the items to keep me afloat in the early game. Band of Thieves, it's a good generic item. Again, I don't want to pick it because I'm going for Bruiser Invokers, but at least my initial setup would be Bruiser Invokers. Let's see, I end up rolling the first two and going for delayed start. I started scouting the other players for what they're going for. There's a few Ionias, there's some Slayers, and then there are some that are going Lysandra, Seraphine, or what have you. And delayed start gave me two paths. They gave me a Slayer starter and they gave me an Invoker starter. An Invoker is not gonna give me much mileage with the items unless I turn Kiana and Briar into tanks. So I went ahead and stuck to itemizing Slayers. Now mind you, I was really on the fence to slamming these items right away. It's going to be a contested line as Slayers usually would in patch 16.4, and it is a Gwen portal, so I really don't have anything to lose because I could just slam items and break them down later once I get the scissors. Here is one of the opponent's openers for Slayer. They do become very scary later on. More about that in a while. But holy moly, this game was, I gotta admit, the first half of the game, I kind of was just autopiloting. I kind of wanted Slayers, but the game gave me no other choice but to swap to Invokers. And then Gwen gives me a bow. So I'm like, okay, maybe I could just make Titans and call it a day. Kraken is not gonna get me much mileage because it's not that flexible when it comes to other units. So I thought I would make Bloodthirster, Titans, slap on the tier for some mana regions so Briar can cast sooner, and hopefully that will get me through the early game. Here we have 52 gold at 2-6 because of delayed start and win streaking. We are in such a great position, and I figured I've already killed all possible setup for a Bruiser Invoker unless I use the scissors now and make a Shojin and some tank items. But I figured, why don't we just pull through with the Slayer comp? Maybe I'm in a good position to out-tempo all my other contesters. So I go ahead and set it up right now. I'm also debating if the Slayers do end up being too contested, and I really have a bad experience with being contested 3-way or even 2-way. Another line that I could probably explore is the Warwick comp. Warwick has more or less the same items as Slayer comp. It's got one item for CC, one item for durability, and Bloodthirster is just icing on the cake. We're at level 6, we're at a 6-win streak, and honestly this game could not get any better. Now if I could only just stick to one comp, technically I don't have to commit to any of the comps yet, because most of the comps that I want to go for, either Bruiser Invoker or Slayers or the Warwick, won't get set up until mid game. And the game is playing tricks on me now, because a level 6 shop at 3-2 gave me a 1-star Belveth. So I thought, okay, maybe this is my sign to actually go the Belveth Slayers comp. We don't do too well because we face against a Yunara. I shouldn't be surprised because I have a Belveth of my own. We pick up a 2-star Vi here, and now I am really convinced that I should go for a Warwick setup, because I have some of the Zon openers right now, and there is another 1-star Belveth in the lobby, and they have much better items than I do. I think we're in a good spot to go for a Warwick team comp. It was a very difficult transition item wise, because all the items that I have currently would have been nice on an AP comp like Seraphine, Lysandra, or Bruiser Freyord, or even a Demacia comp. I don't think I even see it. Remember this Mio person? They're already set up for another Slayer Vanquisher team comp, and we managed to defeat them. They already have the Rift Herald, but no one to synergize with. We unlock Warwick with our Jinx and Vi. We give the items to Warwick, and I'm saving the sword, so it's going to become a Starax later on. I honestly don't have any leftover items for Jinx, so I think I'm just going to use that chain vest, slam a steadfast heart, and put it on a tank and call it a day. I'm setting up my team planner here for a possible 5 Zon Disruptor Bruiser comp. I think it's a pretty good team comp given the fact that I have a blast shield for my Piltover 2 splash. Now look at these items. You can't tell me that the game now wants to consider having me play an AP comp. But lo and behold, we managed to stick it out with the items given to us. I'm gonna save that rod for either a Ginsu's or a Morello's. I won't be able to use that tier until much later on in the game, and it's a little underwhelming. This is our 3rd augment, and I didn't like any of the other 3 because we have Omnivamp already through Warwick, we have healing through the Zon trait, and we have a Bloodthirster. Swords are not going to be much helpful to us either because we're not Slayers. Our main DPS is Warwick, Jinx, probably if she gets 3 items. Other than that, it's mostly tank items. So we roll the 1st and 3rd one, and then we gamble with Call to Chaos. We end up getting some items, and also a spatula and cooking pot. Now, I saw the spatula and immediately thought of 7 Zon, and thankfully I didn't use the crit of the sparring gloves component that gave us an immediate 7 Zon. I found a Senna and a 2-star Warwick, and I think we're already set up for the mid game. We also find a bow from one of the anvils and made a Ginsu for our Jinx. Look at that pea shooter, very satisfying to watch. And our Warwick flex board gets even more flexible with the appearance of Seraphine. Now we can replace Loris with her and unlock Disruptor for the entire team. We also managed to buy a 2nd Wukong. Normally I wouldn't high roll this much, but here goes our 7 Zon. I swap out Jinx for Echo. I figured I wouldn't need to use the item remover on Jinx because an Echo with a Rage Blade wouldn't do much in my opinion. But we managed to win anyway because we have a 2-star Warwick. He's pretty strong, especially with the 7-piece Zon trait. I think we're in a very good spot right now. So most of the components that I needed are gone, but we do have a belt, and that's going to be our Spirit Visage. We used Gun Scissors on Echo because I wanted to make Even Shroud on for some Sunder for my Warwick, and I do believe that we get another belt and we'll be able to use Sunfire Cape and slap it on Singe. There's not much room for these tiers and AP items in this comp unless we could itemize Seraphine, which I don't mind, but at this point in the game I'm better off with holding off on these items. But there's also the possibility of hitting level 9 and unlocking Ziggs. We'll be able to make full use of that Rage Blade on Jinx and possibly convert this tier into a Void Staff and this leftover rod for Morellos or Gunblade. Look how the Warwick was able to wrap around the back while Wukong maintained his place. This was a positioning problem that I had with other melee carries from previous games. Normally I would keep Wukong on A2 thinking that Wukong would move up as soon as my main melee carry would take care of whatever weak units the enemy player has, and I would envision that main carry to kind of reach the back line, but that's not how the turn goes. Each unit, both mine and the opponent, take one step per hex, and they would keep doing it until they engage in battle. And because of that interaction, most of the time, if my melee carry ends up defeating the unit, it wouldn't be the main tank that would move, but my main carry, because everyone has a hidden movement speed. And if you guys played a Tryndamere Ashe reroll comp, you would know why, because Tryndamere has an absurd amount of movement speed that he could even outpace the tanks and end up being the front line and getting the aggro instead of the tanks. So I figured, what if I just put Wukong slightly to the right? I'll still be able to make full use of my Even Shroud's Sunder aura because it's 2 hexes, and if their backline and melee carry ends up targeting my Blitzcrank, my Wukong would still be alive. So as this plays out, this Taric is gonna go down, and look how the units start to move around. Because of the available space, Wukong moves 1 to the right, Blitzcrank occupies Wukong's previous spot, and Warwick is now free to move up. But because Vi moved up to target Taric first instead of Sejuani, whatever my tanks die here, they'll end up focusing Vi next and Warwick, because Wukong is so far away from the enemy carry's range that they end up targeting Vi because she's the closest target. And because Vi would die soon and Warwick gets closer and closer to them, Warwick will get the aggro. Thankfully, my weak tanks buy me enough time for Warwick to do his thing. There was a coin flip as to whether Warwick would go on to go down or go up top, and thankfully I won the RNG, because had Warwick focused the same target as Wukong, Warwick wouldn't stand a chance. He would lose here and I would eventually lose. But because of that, Warwick was able to focus the back line with no problem. My tanks are slapping each other with wet noodles, and Warwick is able to clean up. I thought that was an interesting positioning. Finally get some good items to get our board rolling. I thought I would greed and level up past, or use up my gold past 50 for XP, thinking that I can just keep my win streak going and feed me gold and hit 9 that way. But it looks like that won't be the case, so we go straight to level 9, put in Jinx and Senna for Gunslinger. Honestly, I didn't have to do this because I don't have Bronze for life, and Gunslinger is not going to affect Jinx or Senna and Lucian's damage that much. But as long as I maintain 7 Zon, I should be okay. I was also debating whether or not I should just turn the current cooking pot that I have into Juggernaut, but I also have a Shyvana in the bench, thinking that I could probably just replace Disruptor. At the moment, I valued the Disruptor's overall team-wide debuff, and because of that, I think in hindsight, Shyvana in the field would feel a lot better than Disruptor, because who else would I replace? I guess I could replace, yeah, I wouldn't know who to replace. Most of my Zon units are essential. If I had another Zon emblem, I would definitely replace Vi, get rid of Blast Shield, put in Shyvana and Kindred. And that would be my final board, but this would have to make do. And our next opponent becomes Herald. Check this guy out. This guy is a menace. He's so strong that they put even Shroud, Hodge, and Rabadons on him. Now I'm thinking maybe I could lessen my loss here. Maybe my Warwick could kill everyone else, but nope. Rift Herald almost one-shots my Warwick. It was very, very scary. Looks like this Mio is on its way to an easy first place. And I just have to go through all of us. What if I could just maintain a higher placement than everyone else, hoping that the Mio player, the Herald 3 player, would knock out everyone else before they get to me? That would be too much of a coin flip. So I thought I would secure a higher placement by starting to itemize Ziggs. I don't have enough gold to go for Warwick, and previously I thought I wouldn't have enough players to pull units out of the pool, of 4-cost units out of the pool. But this Yone Chibi player was able to hit a 3-star Herald. That definitely would have been a dream. And here comes Hanabi again, the Ionia player. It was very strong earlier, and I think we might have a chance at beating him because we were able to hit level 9, because we were able to hit a 2-star Ziggs. Well, will it be enough in this round? Not quite. It might be a positioning diff at this point, or perhaps we don't have the proper items, because I still have a tier, I still have a cooking pot, and there's no way I would make an invoker in this team comp. So I used the final scissors to break down Zig's current items, make myself a Void Staff, recombine Rage Blade, and make Ginsu's Gunblade, and then I would use Morelos instead for Singed, and the Sterax for Mundo. I think the Sterax would have been better on Singed, but that wouldn't be the case. Oh, I'm sorry, I did Shojins instead of Gunblade. I guess I valued more bombs over healing my units. I think in hindsight, Gunblade would have been a lot better. Be able to keep my frontliners alive while Ziggs keeps the DPS going. And there's 5 players left in the lobby. Now I'm thinking, how much better can I improve this final board? I bought an Azir, thinking I could make some sort of Zonless Disruptor 2-piece set to include in my Zon board, but I eventually find out that leaves me with 6 Zon, and honestly I should have just stuck to adding Kindred and keeping Seraphine for the Blast Shield. I didn't think of adding any other DPS items because they would just be itemless. I don't know what else I'm rolling for here, so I end up finding another Echo, thinking that it might just be better to field 7 Zon instead of that posh setup. And it looks like Miyu was swapped out his items. Check this out. The Herald 3 player swapped out his AP items into tank items, and because of that, it gave us a fighting chance. Or maybe it's also because I was able to give my Ziggs the proper items. Well, regardless, we were able to beat him just before the match was decided, and we were able to secure the win. All that's left now is that Ionia player. You can see in chat that Rift Herald 3 blocks 71,000 damage. Kudos to that guy for high rolling, but it seems that my board was too strong. And I just realized that I took 3 econ augments. Oh, that was close. 3 econ augments at Call to Chaos was technically an item augment, but that item augment gave me 7 Zon. So here we play a little bit of mind games. We got ourselves a Kindred 2, but I don't think itemizing her will do me much. And now we do some last minute swaps. I got a Juggernaut 2, kind of be going for that early GG, but I think it was for them because that positioning got us the dub. Ooh-wee! What a game. That got exciting really fast. From the first half, it was kind of monotonous. It was just the usual, and then someone ended up hitting a 3-star Herald and it got everyone scared, including myself. But this Ionia player was also able to come out on top with their board: 2-star Set, 2-star Tarek, 2-star Yunara, 2-star Kindred, and 2-star Shyvana. Very strong all throughout, but the big dog comes out on top with our 7 Zon team comp. I didn't expect my Warwick flex game to be that successful, but I should also keep in mind that I should have this much freedom and should be able to execute a lot better in the future, because I've been holding out on items, I've been holding out on upgrades. I'm basically still experimenting throughout the whole thing because Warwick flex is still a difficult concept for me. Nevertheless, we were able to win. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys on the next VOD review. Thank you so much. Peace.